Sorry I'm late. Traffic was insane, I panted. Lisa and I, Mark, bought tickets for the last showing at AMC theaters, some boring art house film. The cinema was empty, except for one sleepy cashier. Auditorium 7. Just don't enter after the red light above the door comes on. And don't buy any cherry Coke. We checked the clock. 11:45 p.m. 15 minutes until the show started. The hallway was dark, with only the emergency lights on. A sign hung above the door. Auditorium 7. Silence. No food. The auditorium was huge. But besides us, there were only 3 other people. One in 3 different corners. The movie was already playing on the screen, but the sound was off. Only a faint red light was blinking in the corner of the screen. One of the 3 audience members slowly, very slowly, turned their head and stared right at us. The movie on the screen was increasingly disturbing. It was a grainy, low-quality single-camera video feed showing an empty auditorium, but filmed as if from the inside. Lisa whispered, "Mark, it's just static. And what is that smell? Like something is burning." I caught the smell of burnt popcorn and metal. I broke the second rule. I pulled out the can of cherry Coke I'd bought in the lobby. At that moment on the screen, the camera slowly panned and focused on our seats. Then, someone appeared in the video, a tall, thin shadow that glided down the aisle. Lisa gasped. The third viewer began to sway back and forth, their breathing loud and raspy. It was not human breathing. Lisa tugged my sleeve. "Mark, we need to leave, now!" I jumped up, knocking over the can. The red light above the door came on. The sound of a ghastly, dry cough echoed right behind us. Lisa and I scrambled out of the auditorium. The red light above the Auditorium 7 door pulsed. I heard the sound of a slow, shuffling step from behind it. We ran through the dark AMC corridors. Everything was cast in emergency lighting. Our goal was the lobby and the exit. We reached the stairs leading up to the projection floor. The third rule we learned. A scratched, filthy service memo was taped to the wall. If the projector in Auditorium 7 turns on, you cannot turn it off until 4 a.m. We rushed upstairs. The Auditorium 7 projection booth was open. The projector was running the same grainy, horrifying video. In the corner of the room stood an old, analog phone. A note was taped to it. "Wait for the call at 4 a.m. We heard the shuffling steps come up the stairs. They were very close now. We had to run, but I knew if I turned off the projector to save us, the entity would be right here. Lisa and I ran down the stairs from the projection area and dashed through the empty corridor toward the main lobby. Behind us, I could hear the slow, raspy cough echoing off the concrete. When we burst into the lobby, I grabbed the handle of the main AMC door. It was locked, tight. The time was 3:15 a.m., We were trapped. Lisa pointed to the poster display stand. On the very back poster, one that hadn't been changed in years, were 3 dry, folded notes that looked like rules. I quickly snatched them. Rule 5. When you run through the lobby, never look at the poster wall. It waits for you to break this rule so you can see your friend. It was too late. I had just looked. I slowly turned back to the wall. The wall wasn't there. Instead, I saw a black, infinite tunnel. And at the entrance of the tunnel stood a figure. It looked exactly like Mark, but without eyes, and with a long, unnaturally wide smile. That was my friend. I pulled Lisa into the concession stand booth. We had to hide until 4 a.m. rang. Lisa and I were hiding behind the AMC counter. I could hear something large, like a rolling popcorn cart moving slowly across the lobby, but it sounded much heavier. 03:30 a.m. Lisa was hyperventilating. We can't stay here. It will find us. I looked around. Behind the concession stand was an inconspicuous service door with a sign, break room, 15 minutes max. I pushed the door open. Inside was a small, almost sterile white room with a single broken couch and an old, unplugged television. On the door was yet another, crudely scratched note. Rule 6. If you are forced to use the break room, know that she sees you. Your only escape is to remain absolutely motionless. Ignore the voices and the soft knocking until the light goes out. Do not open your eyes when you feel the cold. We huddled on the couch. I shut my eyes. In the darkness, I began to hear voices. They whispered about movies I had never seen and people I did not know. The voices grew louder until they sounded like the screaming of 1,000 people in a packed theater. Suddenly, a cold draft hit, like a freezer door had opened. I felt an icy touch brush against my cheek. I wanted to scream, but I remembered the rule. I kept my eyes shut. The light in the break room went out. Lisa and I scrambled up. The clock read 3:55 a.m., just 5 minutes until the call. We bolted back toward the stairs. In the lobby, I caught a glimpse of my friend. It was standing facing the poster wall, its unnaturally long arms crossed. It was waiting. We reached the projection room. The projector was still running, but the image on the screen began to distort and glitch violently. The grainy footage of the empty room looked like it was about to stop entirely. The old telephone rang. It was a sharp, deafening analog ring. The clock hit exactly 4 a.m. I snatched the receiver. The voice wasn't the cashier's, but a raspy, whispering sound, seeming to emanate from the very cinema structure. Rule 7, the final rule. You broke every rule you could, Mark. You must stop the film now. But know this. If the film stops moving, you must become part of the audience. Until 5 a.m., you must sit quietly. But you are not alone. I hung up and switched off the projector. The light in the room went out, and a deafening, triumphant scream echoed throughout the entire AMC. Lisa and I ran down to Auditorium 7. This time, we did not sit in the center. We sat right next to 2 of the other viewers, the ones who had been swaying. I felt someone sit down right behind us. We sat in absolute silence, not daring to move. Time crawled. The viewers next to us and the one behind us did not stir. The only sound was the sporadic, dry cough, which now sounded like it was coming from inside the walls of the auditorium. Finally, 5 a.m. arrived. The lights in Auditorium 7 snapped on and loud music blared. We jumped up. The viewers were gone, only Mark and Lisa remained. We ran. The AMC lobby was still empty, but now, in the light of the morning, the main doors slid open. Outside, on the parking lot asphalt, I stopped. Lisa looked at me, her eyes vacant. "Mark, you look different." I couldn't answer. I remembered my friend in the lobby with his wide smile. I ran my hand over my face. I couldn't feel my eyes anymore. I knew I had survived, but now I had to become part of the audience.